All right, welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Sometimes I feel like I'm wading through this just huge ocean of English words, trying to keep my head above water.
I know exactly what you mean. It can be pretty overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you hear that English has over 1 million words.
1 million, really?
It's true, it's mind-boggling. But here's the thing. For most of us, we don't need to know anywhere near that many words for everyday conversation.
So you're saying there's hope for us average folks?
Absolutely. Around 3,000 words are generally considered enough to get by. And that's great news, right?
Definitely takes the pressure off. But what about going beyond those 3,000 words?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. The materials you sent me for today's deep dive really got me thinking about how expanding your vocabulary can help you express yourself more clearly and effectively.
So it's not just about sounding smart, it's about actually being able to say what you mean with more precision, I guess.
Exactly. It's about nuance and clarity. So today we are diving into some seriously cool and sometimes challenging English words. We'll look at examples, discuss strategies for learning them, and explore how even difficult words can make your communication sharper and more engaging.
This should be fun. Okay, so the main source you shared is this really comprehensive list of difficult English words, alphabetically arranged, all the way from A to Z. And each word has its own definition. I have to admit, it's a bit intimidating at first glance.
I can see that. But let's break it down and see how we can extract some real gems from this list.
Great idea. Why don't we take a little journey through the alphabet, pulling out some intriguing examples along the way? You came.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Perfect. So starting with the letter A, we have the word acumen. The definition given is the ability to make good judgments and quick decisions, typically in a particular domain. Think about that for a second. Having acumen, especially in a field you care about, can be hugely beneficial. It's about quickly assessing information, seeing the big picture, and making smart choices. And especially for you as a listener who's clearly someone who likes to stay informed and make well-thought-out decisions.
Right, and it's important to remember that acumen isn't just about being intelligent. It's about a kind of practical wisdom, like a keenness of mind that leads to action.
I like that. So it's not just about having knowledge, it's about knowing how to use it effectively.
Absolutely.
Okay, on to letter B. Here we encounter the word baffle. It means to totally bewilder or perplex. Now, we've all been there, right? Facing a situation that leaves us completely stumped. But using baffle to describe that feeling adds a whole new level of precision.
Yeah. I see what you mean. It's more than just saying, I don't get it. Being baffled implies that you've really tried to understand something, but it just hasn't clicked yet.
Yes, exactly. Like you're facing this puzzle that you can't quite solve.
Right, and it makes you sound a little more sophisticated than just saying, huh.
Definitely. Moving on to C, we have the word charisma. The definition here is compelling attractiveness or charm that can inspire devotion in others. I think charisma is fascinating. It's more than just being likable. It's about having that magnetic quality that draws people in, sometimes even inspiring fierce loyalty. It's pretty powerful stuff.
I've always wondered what makes someone charismatic. Is it something you're born with, or can you learn it?
That's a great question. I think it's probably a bit of both, but having a word like charisma helps us pinpoint that quality and start to dissect what makes it so compelling.
True. And understanding charisma can help you better analyze how leaders and influencers connect with people.
Let's skip ahead a bit to E, where we have the word enigma. A person or thing that is mysterious, puzzling, or difficult to understand. Doesn't that word just ooze mystery and intrigue?
Oh, for sure. That makes me think of unsolved mysteries and cryptic messages.
Me too. And, life is full of enigmas, both big and small. Everything from the vast universe to the quirks of human behavior can feel like an enigma at times.
I think having the word enigma in your vocabulary helps you frame those mysteries in a more interesting way.
I agree. Okay, for F, we have foresight. The ability to predict, or the action of predicting, what will happen or be needed in the future. Given your interest in always being prepared, this word seems particularly relevant.
Definitely. Foresight is all about anticipating what's coming next, so you can plan accordingly and avoid potential problems down the line.
I think that's a skill we could all benefit from honing.
I agree. And I think it's important to remember that foresight isn't about having some magical crystal ball. It's about analyzing current trends, understanding potential consequences, and making educated guesses about the future.
It sounds like a really valuable skill, not just for leaders and decision makers, but for everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's jump to K. This is where things get a bit more poetic. We have the word kalopsia, defined as the state in which everything and everyone looks beautiful.
Kalopsia.
Yeah,
That's a new one for me. It's a beautiful word and a beautiful concept.
it is, isn't it? It makes me think of those rare moments when everything just seems to sparkle.
Yeah, like you're seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. It's interesting how our perception of beauty can be so fluid and how sometimes everything just seems perfect.
Totally. Okay, scooting along to S, we find serendipity, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. Serendipity is just pure joy. It's those unexpected moments of good fortune that sprinkle magic into our lives.
Like finding a $20 bill in your old coat pocket.
Exactly. Or bumping into an old friend you haven't seen in years. Those little happy accidents.
I think what's cool about serendipity is that it reminds us that not everything has to be planned. Sometimes the best things in life happen when we least expect them.
I couldn't agree more. All right, let's wrap up our alphabetical adventure with X, where we encounter xenophobia, which is defined as dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. It's a word that deals with a sensitive topic, but it's important to acknowledge its presence in this list.
You're right. Understanding xenophobia is crucial for engaging in meaningful conversations about social issues.
Absolutely. We're simply acknowledging that the word is in the source and defining it. We're not endorsing the sentiment behind the word, of course.
Of course. Okay, so we've explored some really interesting and sometimes challenging words from this list. And what strikes me is how much depth and nuance these words add to our language. They allow us to express really complex ideas and emotions with much greater precision.
I agree. And the best part is, this is just a small sampling. There are so many more gems hidden within this list. But now, the million-dollar question is, how do we actually learn these tough English words? I mean, it's one thing to see them on a list, but how do we make them part of our everyday vocabulary?
Well, the source you provided also addresses that. It introduces the concept of semantics, which it defines as the study of meanings. Semantics is all about going beyond the dictionary definition and understanding the subtle ways words work, how they relate to each other, and how they've evolved over time.
So it's not just about memorizing a definition, it's about understanding the whole story behind the word.
Exactly. And that deeper understanding can make it much easier to remember and use those words correctly.
That makes a lot of sense. The source also stresses the importance of practice. Like anything else, using these words regularly is the key to making them stick.
Absolutely. It's about moving them from your passive vocabulary words you recognize to your active vocabulary words you can easily use in conversation.
The source recommends creating your own list of complex words and meanings and aiming to learn at least 5 new words regularly. That sounds like a manageable goal, right?
I think so. It's about building a sustainable habit. Focus on a few words at a time and gradually expand your vocabulary over time. Slow and steady wins the race.
Right. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And the source makes another great point. Mastering English vocabulary is an ongoing process. Start with a solid foundation of simpler words and gradually work your way up to the more complex ones.
It's a journey, not a sprint. And each new word you learn adds another layer to your understanding of language and the world around you.
Now, the source also includes a frequently asked questions section, which I think provides some helpful nuggets of information. Let's take a look, shall we?
Sure, let's dive into those. I always find FAQs helpful for getting straight to the point.
The first question asks for a list of 20 hard words in English. The source provides a good selection, and I'll highlight a few that jumped out at me. We have labyrinth, which refers to a complex, intricate maze. Nirvana, a state of perfect peace and liberation. Pandemonium, which describes a scene of utter chaos and wild disorder. And, of course, our friend serendipity, which we talked about earlier. We also have tangible, something that can be touched or felt. Unbiased, meaning impartial and fair. And again, xenophobia, which we also defined earlier.
It's an eclectic mix, isn't it? You've got abstract concepts, concrete descriptions, and even words that delve into social dynamics. It's a reminder of just how varied and expressive the English language can be.
Okay. The next question asks for a list of 10 difficult words starting with the letter I. The source provides some great examples. Let's see, we have idiosyncrasy, which describes a peculiar habit or mannerism. Imperative, meaning something that is absolutely necessary or urgent. Impetus, the force that drives something forward. Indigenous, meaning originating or occurring naturally in a specific place. And inevitable, which refers to something that is certain to happen.
Even within a single letter of the alphabet, you have a range of meanings that touch on everything from personality quirks to the forces that shape our world. It's pretty impressive when you think about it.
And finally, we have the question that we already discussed. What is semantics? The source gives a very clear and simple answer. Semantics is the study of meanings. I think this is a great reminder that at the core of vocabulary expansion is a deeper appreciation for how words work and what they truly signify.
Yes, it's about going beyond rote memorization and engaging with the nuances and complexities of language.
Well, this deep dive has been truly enlightening. I think the key takeaway is that actively building a strong vocabulary, even by tackling those seemingly difficult words, is an incredibly rewarding investment. It empowers us to understand more, express ourselves better, and engage with the world in a more nuanced and meaningful way.
I completely agree. And as the source highlights, consistent practice, coupled with a focus on truly understanding the meanings of words, is the recipe for success.
Exactly. It's about making a conscious effort to expand your linguistic horizons, and who knows, you might even surprise yourself with the results. Now, here's a thought for you, our listener. What if you challenge yourself to incorporate just one or two of these new words into your conversations this week? Just try it out and see how it feels. You might be surprised at how even small changes in your vocabulary can shift your communication style and deepen your understanding of the world around you. It's a fun experiment, and you never know what new perspectives you might unlock. Until next time, happy word exploring.
Happy exploring.